All right, welcome back. Hope you're having a good day. A little collection of cuttings that I took. Actually, they're my quarantine cuttings, if you will. April 2020. There's now 5 left in here. There's 5 cuttings in this mess. But today I'm going to harvest one for a root over a rock. I'm going to go ahead and just, take one out of the most crowded area I can find. I'm going to guess it's probably going to come from one of these 3. I'll probably try to get the one in the middle here. But first, the idea is I do just kind of, want to let the cuttings grow out and just kind of be a little more tree-like whenever I go to, quote unquote, harvest them. But just in the, they are kind of getting overcrowded in here. That's one reason to harvest one. But then I'd also like to go ahead and just do a little bit of trimming. I'll be leaving a lot of growing tips behind, but I'll also be taking some just whole branches off. Some of them come out in some really funky spots. And then that should open it up quite a bit for us and give me a better look at which one I want to take out. There, kind of knew that something like that was going to happen on these the way I was kind of pruning them anyway. This thing has such a huge bulge right there. I went ahead, I took the apex off of this one completely. This one kind of had 2, so I took off basically like half of it, and I'm going to see if I can hit this with knob cutters and bring that way down. Yeah, that should help with taper and everything going forward too. I did want to pick which one was coming out. Because of the crap soil that I got them in, it's kind of hard to tell which one's going to make the best root over rock. This one's the longest and skinniest. I don't really want that. Thinning out the trees here a little bit. So I think I'm going to pick this one. And then for all of these super long ones, letting it grow like that to grow out that top chop scar that almost all these have. But some back butting down low wouldn't hurt either. Alright, so that took care of most of the growing tips in there. Alright, so this is the one I decided to harvest. Got you guys a little bit of a better angle. And then I just kind of also got to look at it. It's got a strong branch coming off and also kind of a bit of an apex. And so what I'm going to do now, the apex is has less foliage than that does, and it's about the same thickness. So I'm actually just going to go ahead and take that off. And then you'll probably see it later, but when I was going around kind of pruning, I was trying to get all the growing tips. I didn't even do it on purpose, but I left that one, and I'm going to go ahead and leave that one. And that'll be just a branch that I leave on there, just so that it pushes a ton of roots and really gets a hold of the rock, while I try to go ahead and style this upper portion as it grows. Whoa. All right, and so there's what we've got. If I was just repotting in a training pot or something like that, I'd probably take these longer ones off. Since I'm trying to put it over a rock, I am going to go ahead and let them kind of drape in there a little bit. I got a rock already in this pot here, and then I got another rock here just in case. Kind of see what this one would look like and compare it to what this is the one I have in there. They're both about the same size. This one actually even has a couple grooves that it drape right on over. And perfect. So that is the one. Alright, and so there we are. I'll put this in the shade for probably 2-3 weeks till at least I see some good growth coming out on it. But I'll be able to put this right on the ground. These Microcarpa aren't really susceptible to nematodes and stuff like that. Or at least I haven't found that to be a problem yet in my collection. So I put it right on the ground, maybe even just like lean it up against one of my little cactus trees out there or something, keep the neighborhood cats off of it and everything. But that'll be after a few weeks in the shade. And then probably about this time next year, at least that long I'd say, probably be ready to come and just, take a few inches of the pot off. The issue here is, you can leave it covered up, but I've actually found if you leave it covered up too long, it starts circling around up here, and you don't want that. And then also, you kind of want to be able to see, after this thing recovers, I'll probably try to, keep this kind of pruned traditionally, if you will, or whatever. Let this run like as a little bit of a sacrifice. But eventually, you would like to kind of get an idea of what side you're trying to use for the front and everything. And sometimes when you can't really see anything down there, it's just hard to tell. But right now, number one thing is just get it to recover. I'm sure it'll be fine. Most of the root over rocks I've done that are really good, I did with a cutting just barely even like this big with just like a long wispy root. Kind of like laid it in there and just had the root coming around the one side. I've never really started one with this many roots before. I think it'll do just great. I did get a couple. I do have a couple bigger ones that I put like straight as pre-bonsai material, with a good trunk or whatever right on a rock. But as far as the ones that I think look really good that I started from cuttings or whatever, they were much smaller than this. This one should turn into a hell of a project pretty quick.